It's the area round of the 2023 Texas High School football playoffs. Half the teams, twice the pressure. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas High School football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to the second round of the 2023 Texas High School football playoffs, the area round across the state of Texas. We had 352 UIL Texas High School football playoff games last week. I picked all 352 of them. I got 296 of them right, 84%. The haters are furious, but we're now into the area round, and things are getting down to the nitty-gritty. You've got massive matchups everywhere across the state. So much so that, once again, much to the chagrin of our esteemed editor, Mallory Hartley, I'm picking all 176 UIL Texas High School football games this week. They're either scrolling on this side, or I'm going to mention it out loud. To be clear, save your comments. I picked all of them. I promise you they're there. If I don't mention it out loud, it's over here. If it's not over here, I'll mention it out loud. Got it? Cool. Huge games everywhere. We start in Rosenberg. 7 o'clock Friday night at Traylor Stadium in Rosenberg. It is a 5A Division I area round matchup between the Fulshear Chargers and the A&M Consolidated Tigers. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, home run derby. No, you didn't stumble upon a baseball video. Instead, this is about football, and it's about the big plays that are going to be hit on Friday night, because both of these offenses are explosive and can ignite at the snap of a finger. On the Fulshear side, they have got big-time playmakers everywhere you look, most notably their running back, Davian Godley, who has been just out of this world. He's been so good this year. Patrick Broadway has been great as well. They've got a big-time quarterback in Deuce Barrington as well. This team is loaded. They've got playmakers all over the field. A&M Consolidated has got plenty of firepower themselves, led by their quarterback, Will Hargett, and a big-time receiver in Peyton Bjork, who was almost unstoppable last week in their by-district win. So, in a game that figures to have a bunch of big plays, who hits more of them? Key number two, Agent Zero. Let's talk about numeral zero, Keyshawn Thomas for A&M Consolidated, because I think he's a real game breaker in this contest. He's their special teams dynamo. He is their defensive stalwart, the guy who comes up with the big plays defensively. And it would not be a surprise to me to see him get more run offensively in this game, because it's all hands on deck. It's win or go home, and I feel like Brandon Schmidt is going to pull out all the stops and use his best player all over the field. Keyshawn Thomas is a game breaker every time he lines up in the formation. How will he impact Friday night's ball game? And key number three, revenge or repeat. If this game feels familiar, it's because we've seen it before. We saw it this time last year in the area round where these two teams matched up, and Fulshear came away with a 50-38 win. Davian Godley had a huge game, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, and Fulshear ran away with what was, to date, their biggest win in program history. Now, for A&M Consolidated, a lot of those guys who were on that team last year are back. Bjork, Hargett, Trey Taylor, Keyshawn Thomas. A lot of those guys remember what it feels like to get knocked out by Fulshear. But this Fulshear team also looks like they've taken a step as well. So, on Friday night in Rosenberg, will we see revenge or repeat? Who am I picking? I'm going with Fulshear. The Chargers get the nod here because of the big playability they have offensively, and something we haven't talked about a ton, their defense is pretty stout. I really like what they're able to do, especially in the secondary. I think they have a way of maybe containing this A&M Consolidated offense. Now, I think that A&M Consolidated has got a great shot in this game, especially if they can get the running game going. That balance is going to put this Fulshear defense on its heels a little bit and allow the Tigers to make some big plays. In the end, I think this game is close and actually plays out a lot like it did last year. A bit high scoring. I think the result is the same. Give me the Chargers to move on to the regional semifinals. Let's go to 6A Division I, but stay in Houston. 7 o'clock Friday night at Lamar Stadium in H-Town. It is a 6A Division I area round matchup between the Houston Lamar Texans and the Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers. And it is time to start talking about Houston Lamar in very serious terms. Okay? It's time to consider them as a contender. I think there's this idea, they're just the best Houston ISD team, right? They just go and beat up on other Houston ISD teams. Well, take a look at the resume. They've won over Pasadena Adobe. They've won over the Woodlands. This team has been legit all year long, and last week they absolutely crushed Jersey Village en route to this area round matchup, and I love what they bring to the table. Their quarterback, Jordan Reeves, has been very strong. Their defense, giving up less than 4.5 points per game, led by Trevin Williams. They are serious business, and it's time to start paying attention to what Michael Lindsay's Texans have cooking. This is a huge test this week, though, against Ridgepoint, which is one of the hottest teams in Houston. Started off 0-2, have won 9 straight, and have looked excellent doing it. Quarterback Austin Carlisle is really starting to hit his groove, and they have one of the most explosive playmakers in all of Houston in Ashton Bethel-Roman, their wide receiver. He's got to have a big game in this one to get past this Texans defense. I think this game is fascinating, and a lot of it comes down to what you think of this Texans team. Are they for real, or are they just the best of Houston ISD? I think they're for real. I think Lamar's through the regional semifinals. Let's go to 4A Division 1 now. 7 o'clock Friday night at Comalander Stadium in San Antonio. It's a 4A Division 1 area round matchup between the Vernia Bears and the Boerne Greyhounds. We haven't talked a ton about Vernia lately. I think it's because they lost 2 straight one-score games in the middle of the year, but they've kind of crushed everyone else, and they are rolling right now. Their wide receiver Colton Schmidt is putting up crazy numbers right now, and dual threat quarterback Keegan Hayek has been really strong for this Vernia team. They are serious gravy. They will need to be so against this Boerne team that is getting healthy. Jackson Bays is back, and is back at quarterback and is doing his thing. He has been terrific since coming back from injury, and that defense, led by Hudson Hendricks, has been shutting the door. There's a fair argument to be made that these are the 2 best teams in Region 4. I think Boerne gets the edge in this one. I think the Greyhounds come away with a very narrow win. Let's go east. 7 o'clock Friday night at Pirate Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's a 3A Division 2 area round matchup between the Dangerfield Tigers and the Hooks Hornets. Dangerfield's kind of hard to get a read on. They have 3 losses on the year, but they're all pretty good teams. And I do think that their defense has been really strong all year long. Their playmaker, Chase Johnson, is all over the field, offense, defense, does a little bit of everything. He will need to be so against Hooks this week. Hooks scored 92 points last week. So that's a thing that happened. The Hornets have been out of this world, and folks out in East Texas are talking about this Hooks team as one of the most talented teams in all of East Texas, and it's time to start paying attention to what they're doing. Keyshawn Walls, their running back, has been unbelievable, and they have a sophomore quarterback in Ripken Birdwell who is really stepping up to the plate in a big way. Now, last week they gave up 50-plus points as well to Edgewood, so their defense is going to need to step up in a big way, but I do think that this Hooks team is for real, and I think they come away with a close win. Give me the Hornets. Let's go to the Panhandle. 7 o'clock Friday night at Happy State Bank Stadium in Canyon. It is a 2A Division 2 area round matchup between the Sunray Bobcats and the New Home Leopards, and I think this is the Region 1 title game. Like, if I were to pick right now, I'd say that the winner of this game is the favorite to make it to a state semifinal and maybe even beyond. New Home is undefeated and has looked absolutely dominant in every one of their games. They're winning games by an average of 42 points per game. They are outstanding. Quarterback Caleb Cook has been terrific, and Logan Addison in the middle of that defense has been rock solid for the Leopards. But are they tested? That's the real question. Have they played anybody that is going to measure up to what they're going to see on Friday when Sunray comes to town? Because this Sunray team, we know what they're about. They have 2 losses on the year, but they're both to pretty darn good ball clubs, and we know what they're about offensively. The Sunray offense has been terrific. Armando Luan is back on his game, absolutely slinging it around, and their defense has been mostly great all year long. Now, a couple weeks ago, they got touched up against Groover, and they're going to need to shore some things up if they're going to get past New Home. Now, I've been a believer in Sunray all year long. I'm not hopping off the bandwagon at the very last moment. This game is a coin flip, though. It's going to be one of the best games of the week. I think the Bobcats move on to the regional semifinals. And let's talk some 6-man football. 7 o'clock Friday night in Hermleigh. It's a 1A Division 2 area round matchup between the Klondike Cougars and the Whither Panthers. A massive Region 1 clash in 1A Division 2 between 2 state-ranked ball clubs that have looked very good all year long. For Klondike, Creed Warren has been as advertised. This is a guy that we had high hopes for, and he has delivered, has been terrific. And the emergence of the sophomore, Jared Quintanilla, has given them that extra weapon that really makes Coach Dalton DeGraff and Reed's ball club really difficult to defend. Going up against Whither, who has one of the better defenses in all of 6-man football, Lamar Gomez leads this outstanding Panthers defense, and he will need to be great to slow down this Klondike attack. What's interesting about this ball game is neither one of these teams have really had to chase all that much this year. Somebody's going to fall behind. What happens then? Who has that little extra gusto to put them over the top? This game's going to be close, and I think the winner of this game may be the favorite to win Region 1. I think Klondike has the very slight edge. But those are far from the only big games in the area round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Remember, I'm either going to mention your game out loud or it's scrolling on this side of the screen. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division 1, I'm going with North Crowley over Odessa Permian. Big matchup of unbeatens. I like Austin Westlake over San Antonio Reagan. And give me Klein Collins to take down the Woodlands. 6A Division 2 now, give me McKinney in a close one over Highland Park. And in a matchup of high-octane offenses, I like Willis over Tomball Memorial. Give me Houston Stratford in a close one over Richmond George Ranch. And Weslaco's dream season continues. They get a win over San Antonio J. Interesting cross-regional matchups in 5A Division 1. I like Aledo over Lubbock Cooper. Give me Longview to take down Frisco Reedy, and Corpus Christi Miller wins a close one over Edinburgh Vela. 5A Division 2 now, give me Argyle to take down Abilene Wiley, and I think we lose our first defending state champ this week. I think Melissa takes down South Oak Cliff. Richmond Randall stays hot with a win over Belton, and Alamo Heights stays perfect with a win over Gregory Portland. 4A Division 1 now, I like Frisco Panther Creek over Waco La Vega. Give me Kilgore to take down Bay City, and Springtown gets a win over El Paso Riverside. To 4A Division 2 we go. I like Canyon West Plains over Graham, and give me Aubrey over Van. Sinton outmuscles Lago Vista, and Cuero sneaks by Hampshire Finette. 3A Division 1 we go. I like Clyde over Shallowater, and Malakoff keeps rolling with a win over Mount Vernon. And what may be the Region 4 title game, I like Jourdanton in a close one over Edna, and give me Lorena over Palestine Westwood. 3A Division 2 now, I like Crane over Lubbock Roosevelt. Give me Poth over East Bernard, and I like Jacksboro to stay perfect with a win over Bells. To 2A Division 1 we go. I like Marlin over Coleman, and the defending state champs get a scare, but I think Hawley beats Panhandle. Mason stays perfect with a win over Ganado, and a huge game out east. I like Beckville over Garrison. To 2A Division 2 we go. I like Dawson over Tenaha. Give me Chilton to take down Agua Dulce, and I'm going with Wink to beat Munster. And down in 6-man football, in 1A Division 2, I like Iredell over Bynum. In 1A Division 1, the dream season for Miami continues. They get a win over Spring Lake Earth, and in a battle of unbeatens, I like Abbott over Union Hill. And those are the picks. I picked all 176 UIL Texas High School Football Playoff games this weekend. I either mentioned it out loud or it's scrolling on this side of the screen. So now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2023 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the second round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. We'll see you.